Well, welcome. I'm so happy to talk with you today. My guest for the interview today is Elizabeth Boisson, and thank you so much for joining me today. So Elizabeth is the president and co-founder of Helping Parents Heal, an organization of parents who believe that it is possible to heal and that our children in spirit are right here with us, which is really a warming feeling right from the get-go to embrace that, and that you're also a certified yoga instructor, and that you teach yoga for healing grief. So the idea of this video series of interviews with different parents, etc. The idea is really to show examples of different people and how they get through, the worst nightmare that a parent could ever have, and that's losing a child. So what I'd like to do is name our children, and you go ahead and introduce us to Morgan and Chelsea, and then I'll follow up with, well, actually, I'll say their names now, Richard and Logan. But go ahead and tell us about Morgan and Chelsea.
Richard and Logan, beautiful. And thank you. I would love to talk about them. It's so nice to be able to say their names and to be
It
able to
is.
talk about them. And that's one of the things that I feel is really important for parents to be able to heal, is to be able to hear their names, to be able to, because even with our family and friends, a lot of times they feel uncomfortable about speaking about our kids, even though that's the thing that heals us the most. So thank you. But yes, for Chelsea, in 1991, I was living in France, and I had been hospitalized for 2 months before her birth. And when she did arrive, 2 days later, she passed. And so that was the first part of my spiritual journey. And immediately, I started to feel like I had one foot here and one foot on the other side. But it wasn't until Morgan, my son, passed in 2009 at the base camp of Mount Everest in Tibet that I really had a spiritual transformation. I had been practicing yoga ever since I was in middle school, when I was living in India, actually. And we lived in France, and then we moved here. Morgan went to the University of Arizona, and he was over in Nanjing studying for a year abroad. He had already studied there before, and they flew to Tibet, to Lhasa, and immediately went up in altitude the next day. And they went from 11,000 feet, where Lhasa is, to 19,000 feet in a bus. And he was with 13 other students from the University of Arizona. They were supposed to have 2 professors traveling with them, but they ended up not going. And the kids didn't know very much about altitude sickness. And unfortunately, on the way up in the bus, all of them were very dizzy and nauseous. Some were throwing up. Morgan was holding the head for some of the girls who were having trouble and throwing up. But none of them realized that this was a terrible sign of altitude sickness. And they got up to the base camp. Morgan had a terrible migraine and went to bed early. And he got up during the night, and he was sleepwalking and calling the kids by the wrong name. They were in a big yurt, which is a big tent. And unfortunately, nobody realized that this was something that was really dangerous. And the next morning at 9 o'clock in the morning, he wasn't able to wake up. Everyone else had woken up, and they saw that he was foaming at the mouth. And so one of the kids on the program called his mom and said, "What should we do?" She was a physician in Washington State, and she said, "Get him down the mountain immediately." So they picked him up, 280 pounds, 6'6". These kids, poor things, picked him up, put him on the bus, and started down the mountain. Soon after, though, he stopped breathing, and they immediately decided to get him off the bus and try CPR. In the meantime, I was able to get a call from the director of the program saying that Morgan was not doing well, and he gave me the phone number of Morgan's roommate to be able to call him. So while he was undergoing CPR, I was able to reach Colin, his very close friend. And Colin told me, Miss Boisson, I'm really sorry. Doesn't look good. I don't know how Morgan's going to do. And I said, Colin, put the phone up to his ear. And I immediately told Morgan that we loved him, we were proud of him, and not to be afraid. And immediately when that happened, I felt him hug me. And actually, I'm sitting in the office where that happened. I was sitting right here when it happened, but I felt him hug me so strongly. And I knew that he was not gone. I knew that he had transitioned, but I also knew that he was not gone. And he has been a huge part of my journey ever since. And I've since known that the reason that Morgan was able to get to me and hug me so quickly was because Chelsea, our daughter, was there waiting for him immediately when he transitioned. And she took his hand and led him to me here in Cave Creek, Arizona. So I feel very grateful that she was there, that she was waiting for him. And I feel grateful for knowing all of this. But one of the things that I think helped me the most before this happened was the fact that I was practicing yoga and that I was making it a huge part of what I was doing to heal when Chelsea passed.
So you had a practice in place that allowed you to be, to be, which yoga is so good at, is be here now, be here present, feel yourself in the moment. And that practice then allowed you to open up and to feel the presence of him at such a devastating time. I mean, oh my gosh, when I think of that, anybody would be losing their mind at a time like that, like absolutely losing their mind. And you were connected to your heart. You were able to just be there with him. That's so powerful.
In fact, Morgan and I were so connected. We Skyped constantly. He would be showing us his apartment in Nanjing. Every single day I was on the phone with him. And when I was telling him those three things, my husband was next to me in the office and he said, let me talk to him. And I said, no, I'm sorry. He's gone. And my husband obviously completely lost it. He had no idea, but I felt this incredible sense of calm and knowing that he was not gone, that he was okay. And I have to say that before he ever went to China, we were packing together. It was the day before he left. And he told me, Mom, I don't think I'm coming back from China this time.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, Morgan, you don't even have to go. You have plenty of credits. You've been to China already. You don't need to go back. You can stay at U of A, the University of Arizona, and be a cheerleader. And he said, no, Mom, I'll be okay. And I thought, okay, I think that he's exaggerating. There's no way that he doesn't think that he's actually coming back. But it stuck with me immediately.
Those synchronicities are so powerful.
Yeah.
And they're like frozen moments. I had that with my son Rich as well. He would say to me, Mom, you're going to outlive me. And I would cover my ears and like, no, you can't say that. Don't say that. And there it is. And there it is. Oh my gosh. So
but you also probably knew from the time that he was born that he wasn't going to stay for as long as you wanted him to. And that's the way that I felt with Morgan. I had never felt that way with my other two girls. And
I was in denial.
Did you feel that way? No,
I was in denial. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't, no, I didn't want to let that in. I didn't want to let that possibility in. Yeah. But that knowing the synchronicities, the knowing those parts, those times that when because when this happens, you look back at everything, you turn over every stone. and piece those things together to see, oh my gosh, this is so much bigger than I ever imagined that life could be. But
And it all actually, for me, I realized that it was all meant to happen. That's the most important thing. When I realized that he already knew this, it's so much easier to realize that there was nothing that we could have done to change this. It was already pre-planned.
mm,
Um, so that's very, very calming for me to know that.
yeah, yeah. Do your are there other siblings? Does he have?
Yes, I have two daughters, and one is 27, one is 25. Both of them have gone on to do amazing things. Alix went to the London School of Economics and got a master's, and she's now getting a PhD in public health at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And Christine, her sister, just got a master's at the University College London in art history. But I feel that Morgan has been with them the whole way, and that he's been pushing them to do better. And
Do they feel that presence as well?
yeah, they
Like,
do.
I know that in families, it's not always, everyone doesn't feel it in the same way or perceive, that ability. But they do.
Well, I think that siblings have a tendency to be incredibly intuitive, and I think that that connection that they have with their siblings in spirit helps them do more than what they actually might have done on their life path, because of the fact that they have the support of their siblings in spirit. And both of them are, it's not an easy thing to be intuitive, because especially since I have this group of kids, now almost 14,000 kids, who are around me constantly, and they feel them, especially when they're home. It's not an easy thing, but I think that it has helped them to be better people, because they know that there's more. They also have a guiding light, a guiding star that's helping them through their lives.
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. So in some ways, Morgan opened this door for you. And then how soon after he passed did you were you one of the original creators of Helping Parents Heal?
I actually started in a week after he
Wow.
passed, and that was in 2009. But it initially was a Facebook group. It was called Parents United in Loss, which is not a nice title, because our kids aren't lost; they're actually still right here.
Right,
Um,
right.
I really was searching for a group to be able to express what I was feeling with Morgan, because it didn't stop with that hug. He was constantly present in our lives. He was doing things, moving physical um, things in our house. He was playing with electricity. He was playing with water. He was sending us messages on license plates. He was doing things with numbers. It was incredible, and it just seemed like my life, um, just my whole worldview just opened exponentially when he passed. And um, I think that one of the things that I have realized is that I feel like he is almost like there's a piece of wax paper that separates me from Morgan.
Mhm.
And I feel like I'm almost closer to Morgan than to my two daughters, who normally aren't here. They're here for coronavirus, and I feel very lucky
Oh,
that we're quarantining together.
yeah,
But
yeah.
with Morgan, whenever I need him, he's right here. And when I have issues or problems in my life, I feel like I can count on him immediately to help. And I almost feel as though he is still on a study abroad program in China, which is really interesting. I feel like he's still doing what he was doing before.
Oh my gosh, that's fascinating. Oh wow. Wow. So that opened up Helping Parents Heal. And so certainly you've been able to dream again and dream and create your life, right? I mean, you're in your life and you're developing and growing, etc. So it didn't stop your life. Is there what else is going on outside of helping parents heal? What have you
Well,
been on for yourself?
for helping parents heal, first of all, I feel very grateful to have met all of these parents, but even more importantly, their kids, because I feel like all of these kids are a part of my life. And I feel like
Mm,
my most exciting day will be the day that I get to hug all of these kids when I transition. And I know that they'll all be there. I can't wait for that. But
mhm,
I was, I was really into the practice of yoga before Morgan passed, and I think that because of the fact that I was so present, allowed me to get that hug. But I strayed away from yoga for a few years after that because of the fact that I was worried about shavasana, about going into that state where I would be maybe introspective and sad. So I tackled every mountain around our home here in Arizona. And although I had vertigo before Morgan passed, that completely was cured. And so I was going to the highest points possible to spend time in nature and also to be with him. But about 3 to 4 years after he passed, I went back to get my yoga certification. And what I really wanted was to be able to help others heal. And I feel that yoga is one of my most, um, it's been one of the most healing forces in my life. And I realized that if I hadn't been practicing yoga at the time, I wouldn't have probably gotten that hug immediately. And
mm.
so I'm very grateful for that.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And thank you for sharing what it is that you do and how you help other people. And, I do see that that happens for those of us that um, just have that desire to share what it is that we've learned, to share what it is that has helped us with others, because parents often when their worst nightmare happens they're grasping, they're searching, they're trying to find a roadmap that doesn't exist, but they hear something that someone says or they try something that someone recommends, and that's actually the path. And it's the path to not the exterior but to the interior, and it's there that our children live. It's there in our hearts that they continue. They're with us. I feel the same or similarly to you, in that I feel Rich around me, and I've said his name twice a day since he passed, and more sometimes. Definitely more sometimes, but yeah, that is a light in my life for sure. So thank you so much for speaking with us today. And people can follow you and get in touch with you through the website, and I'll post a link on connected to the video for helping parents heal, and they can find out what else you do. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. This was really,
Thank you
really,
so much. It's
thank you
wonderful
for
to
all the
be
work
here,
you
Basha. And I just want to say Rich's name once more,
do. Thank
and
you.
Morgan and Chelsea's name as well. And I appreciate you interviewing me. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll put Logan in there as well.
And Logan, yes, exactly.
Well,
Thanks so much.
thank you. Thank you. Bye. Have a good day.
Bye. Thank you.